Hey folks, welcome back to Maincast Winter Brawl day number 3. I'm Killer Pitch, and joining me in the cast seat, Liz, he had to walk away. Okay, he's got places to be. We decided to bring in a little bit of NA bias to the side in the tournament, which we won't see the NA players until the second series. Now, I originally thought it was going to be Kyle, but I kind of got spoiled even more. It turns out we've got the one and only BSJ. How's it going, Brian?
Yeah, I appreciate you considering me an upgrade from Kyle. It's going pretty good. It's early in the morning, but always down to cast a good series of dotes. I haven't been able to keep up with this tournament. I usually have a tough time with any tournament that's not in my time zone, unless I'm at it. Dota, it's hard, man. It's hard to keep up when you have to change your sleeping schedule constantly to do so.
No, it's true. I recently, last month, was doing a lot of SEA in China. And I think there were some small tournaments going on in Europe, and I wasn't able to keep track of it at all.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, like I'll sometimes have my viewers be like, "Hey, BSJ, did you watch the tournament?" And I said, "Didn't really feel like being up at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning to."
It's like, I got my own pubs to play. I haven't got time for this.
Yeah, I also am like trying to have a semi-regular life, in general.
Whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa. We're
you
Dota
know,
gamers. Come on.
within reason,
So,
I
like,
understand
5-minute walk in a day?
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. But I don't know, staying up till like 5 a.m. It gets to you after a while, So you gotta just try to reel it in sometimes. But you were telling me Treant Protector hadn't lost so far this tournament, so I guess I'm glad to see that banned out in the first round because that would make it too easy to predict who's gonna win. Is this a thing in this tournament? Pangolier first round? Is this been happening?
I think this might be the first Pangolier of the entire tournament so far. From what I can recall, I haven't seen it once. And
I see.
recently, I've only really seen it played as a 4 by certain teams in the CIS region. People like Zayats love playing this hero still. Cube from EU as well. But a hero that in general in competitive play doesn't really get touched at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's just too bad against what's good. I think that's the syndrome Pangolier's got going for him. Puck pretty much makes his game unplayable. Yeah, it's banned out here, so it makes sense that they're willing to pick it. But heroes like Bloodseeker are still pretty popular. The Slarks of the world. None of these heroes really make Pangolier feel good about his game of Dota. But if he's a 4 position, I do think that the patch benefited heroes like him that really couldn't have afforded to buy an Uv in previous patches because they had to buy the Stout Shield. But now Orb of Venom really value on a hero like Pangolier. So I'm not terribly shocked to see that it's a 4 position. Really, the only player I've ever seen make it work though is Crit. He always has like these really good early game rotations to usually like kill his safe lane real quick and free up the lanes. So don't really know what to expect from a Pangolier. And I guess they're assuming this is a mid Ember because even though, or I'm not sure, because you pick SF that counters Ember, but then you ban TA. So I think they're like assuming it's a mid Ember, but then they want to make sure they don't get counterpicked on the SF anyways.
Yeah,
Kind of interesting.
SF's been a recurring theme in this group stage as well. Not the best win rate, though. This
Okay.
hero, I feel like he still has the same issues he's always had, right? Where it's like, you'll either get the crap kicked out of you in lane phase, always recover, or you'll dominate lane phase, and afterwards, you don't really know what to do with that lead.
Yeah, I agree. I think at least nowadays he is a lot better in team fights. His ult having damage reduction was just kind of underwhelming in comparison to the fear that it has now. It kind of gives him this like oh shit button, like everyone's going on me or they're focusing somebody. I can kind of save my teammates with it. I can protect myself. You can almost pump fake it and threaten so you can create space for yourself in the fight.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like in the old ult, as long as the guy wasn't standing literally right on top of you, if you're ulting, they'll just hit you anyway. They're just gonna keep hitting you. But at least with the new ult, he can kind of protect himself. But in terms of like the 10 to 15 minute mark, he is pretty much the same hero as you were saying. So it does have to be, I think, played around really well. I think it's important that that's it's like the mindset of the team. It's not as much the individual player. It's like you make sure you gank for him when necessary. You make sure you counter gank and protect him because he's got a lot of damage as long as you aren't getting focused on the SF. Uh, but it's easier said than done. He seems like a straightforward hero, but he is no way the case. Another hero I haven't seen very much, the Grimstroke. Have we been seeing a lot of that this tournament?
I think it's been a little bit on the low side of picks. I think maybe 1 or 2 games where it got banned out because the opponents went with Doom and then tried to grab something like the Lich. So it's just the classic combo, right? If you can get Grimstroke, Lich, and Doom, you feel pretty confident about your ability to take any fight and just destroy any opponent.
Yeah, the thing I was a bit surprised about the Grim is, as you were saying, there's none of these like natural combinations with it so far. I was thinking Grimstroke was a kind of good with Doom this patch. That was pretty much, or when I say kind of good, that was when he's really good, and aside from that, he's really not that good. In the current meta. So maybe they're going for like the leash against Pangolier, another BKB piercing leash. I think that might be what their goal is with this pick, but it's obviously not as reliable. The Pangolier does have to be near his teammate in order to proc that.
Yeah, it's also that issue. You've got the like to call the anti soulbind, right? Tiny can actually toss people out of the soulbind range. That can backfire a little bit.
Is that? I did not know that was possible. That's interesting.
I think it depends. Like, there's some weird interactions that are because in theory you should be tossing both, but I can't remember.
I was gonna say, do you toss both people? That's exactly what
I
was
thinking. Because I can't remember. I think when the Grimstroke first came out, there was this awkward issue where one person got tossed on the spot and the other one got tossed away. They must have fixed that by now. I'd hope so. Otherwise,
good joke.
It's completely
fixing bugs and odd interactions in Dota.
Whoa! I say fixing. I mean, out bugging the bug and making a new type of bug, right?
There you go. Exactly.
We got the cheesy double duel now. That's one way to approach the situation.
Yeah, it's a very awkward interaction, but you do end up dueling both targets, but you're only attacking one of them, so it's like you have to be careful of not just dying because you're taking damage from 2 heroes. But yeah, I think overall I like the Khan draft better so far. I think I'm just not impressed with the heroes CyberDog has. I'm not a big fan of Legion. Like, I think she's pretty good against Beastmaster, obviously purging the roar for anyone they pick with her. A Slark or a troll type hero, some man up, press the attack on this hero, frontlining. I think they need some tower damage on CyberDogs, but I'm really just not a fan of Legion right now. I think the meta is just really fight heavy and like aura heavy, and there's a lot of other offlaners that just do better in team fights than the Legion commander. Like, it's kind of funny because last patch I thought she was really strong, and then she kind of got buffed. Actually, she got very minorly buffed in her talents, no nerfs, and then it just feels like she's incredibly underwhelming this patch. They also removed her XP talent, so
yeah, that hurt a little bit.
And yeah, she doesn't get as affected as some of the supports, but yeah,
I think this is it's this kind of residual effect from the last patch, right? Because it used to be the previous patch, you'd throw your offlaner under the bus if they failed in the first few waves, and then they became like another support, right? With Abaddon and Legion being so popular, it was all about this hard dispels, and you still have relevance. And Legion seemed amazing because if she didn't get dumped on lane, you could pivot that, and then she could kind of become a pseudo carry, right? Because you start to stack up early damage, you get more aggressive. Now, as you said, it's all about these auras, right? So things like Beastmaster, Broommaster's been seeing a return. These heroes that can build Helmet Dominator, Vlad's, and just go with their team early on seem to be a lot more effective.
For sure, exactly. I think the main thing I'm looking at on offlaners is that they want to be able to recover from a bad lane. For the most part, I think the ones that have been struggling are the ones that have no backup plan when they have a bad lane. It's like when you're dealing with a Doom, like he's the most broken example of an offlaner. The minute he gets level 3, he can just cut creeps with level 2 Scorched Earth, and it kills the entire wave. So worst case scenario, you're sitting between tier 2s and tier 3s on Doom, getting the entire wave of Scorched Earth. But if you have a rough start on Legion, the dispel is just not enough right now. I don't think. I think putting a lot of it, like last patch was a lot about these gyrocopter faceless voids that are just going to solo carry you, and you sit behind them and buff them up. But this patch, I don't feel like it's nearly that type of meta anymore. So Legion and Abaddon, yeah, they're still good for their kits, but not nearly as powerful as they were last patch. So they go for the last pick PL. It's not that great against Pango, but pretty damn good against everything else. And then they... What? I mean, the old Life Stealer where he goes Radiance was nice against PL. But generally speaking, Lifestealers aren't going for the Radiance anymore. So I'm not
No.
100% confident in why they picked this hero. Will he go for the Radiance? That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Well, usually you want to go to Maelstrom, and you could argue Mjolnir's not too bad, right? Because the PL, they just proc all the spams out and actually does do a lot of damage in AoE. But I just feel like Lifesteal at the moment as a carry is incredibly underwhelming unless it's to directly counter something your opponent has.
I will say that while I do agree with that like overall sentiment, I do think that he's hyper situational, but in those situations can be really strong. They don't really kill him very well this game. So they might be able to punish the lack of PL coming online. They have kind of greedy lanes on the CyberDog side. I think Lifestealer wins against Legion. I think SF is heavily favored against Ember. And so there's a lot of weight on this PL, and PL doesn't exactly come online early enough to make space for his teammates. Like if he's the only one with a good start, PL still doesn't want to fight, right? He wants to wait until maybe 14, 15 minutes in where he's got his diffusal. And if at that point his other two cores are suffering, I could see Khan maybe just running them over by virtue of having very high tempo. You know, SF, once he gets some levels in one item, he's good. Once Lifestealer gets one item, he's good. Beastmaster, one item. So that's the window I'm looking for this game. But I've never seen either of these two teams, so I really have no idea what to expect in terms of the individual players.
Yeah, it's hard to measure. I think the advantage that Khan really has comes down to the support combo. You mentioned the Pango very good against the PL, but also the Disruptor Static Storm against a lot of these heroes. Not many of them want to build BKB. You're maybe looking at what? The Ember is the main one that would go for it, possibly the Tiny as well. But the rest are looking for utility, or as you mentioned, PL's looking for things like Manta, Diffu, maybe the Basher has been more recurring recently on the PL builds.
Yeah, it kind of replaced Abyssal, or Abyssal kind of replaced Heart because the Abyssal buff was just so good for the PL. It kind of gives you like a pseudo tanky regen item, and also allows you to just reliably lock onto targets even more so than you already were. So I think that's why people are more so going Abyssal, and I also think that I don't know, like BKB and stuff is just so needed against heroes like PL because of the Diffusal Blade, and then they buy BKB. So you have this timing where you force them to buy a BKB, and then you have Abyssal or like at least a Basher, and their BKB is suddenly not so scary anymore. So that's why I think a lot of times it kind of leads into his natural timing on PL to go for that Basher into Abyssal Blade.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an evolution of the illusion heroes at the moment as well, right? Because you looked at last patch especially, you saw a lot of Nagas coming out after the PL fell off, and it had the same kind of issue, which you get to a point in the game where you can't die, but the rest of your team is very vulnerable still. So it became like a 1v9 scenario in competitive play in a lot of cases.
Yeah, you also, as you mentioned, you can't really protect your teammates on these illusion type heroes. So the best thing you can do is make yourself as much of a threat as possible. And Abyssal does do a good job of doing that. I think a lot of these illusion heroes are realizing that it's not enough to just be super tanky, super unkillable, because all they're going to do is ignore you until you're the only guy left. And then at that point, it doesn't really matter if you're super tanky. They're just going to focus you down. And it doesn't matter how long it takes them to kill you. So you have to find that right balance between being a proper enough threat that they can't really afford to ignore you, but also being tanky enough that they can't just focus you down.
Right, a little pause going on start here. I'm still
Gotta love pauses, man.
Hey, you know, especially when they're in a language you don't understand, so you can't even enjoy whatever banter or explanation this is. All I got was Olga and sorry lag. That's all we need.
Enough for me, man.
I'm a little bit intrigued to see what the lifesteal is going to do though, because I think someone like a Desolator would be really good this game because it syncs up with Shadow Fiend when he gets his 15 talent and also allows you to utilize his presence of the Dark Lord to the fullest.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pay attention for this as well because on paper I think the new Lifestealer wants to go like Armlet Deso Basher, but against PL if they do that, they're really going to be relying on their 4-position Pango to deal with this PL. So that would be kind of all in on the mid game if they do that. So that's like if one mess up, you're gonna lose. Looks like they might be in trouble top though. The Grimstroke E
Yeah, they're all in on
Powerful.
Cheshire Cat. He's trying to get in front because he wants to toss him back here. And he should be able to... Oh, no. They got two split.
PL's got to be careful. Yeah, the PL has to be careful. That's something I've learned playing a lot of PL. When you have a Tiny on your team, you have to Lance and then immediately micro the illusion away from the toss target, because otherwise he accidentally tosses your illusion.
Small little mistake there. Means they don't get the opportunity to get first blood, so Cheshire Cat just walk up to top. And we are going to have Tiny support in this type of game. Didn't get the courier. Okay, so this is... He's like, well, I'm here. I might as well just beat the crap out of SF level 1 anyway.
Yeah, he's going to try to toss him. Ember Spirit is underneath his own tower. Both of them happen to DC in tandem, but hasn't leveled an ability on the Ember Spirit, so he might end up taking the chains if they get the toss off. While we end this pause, what do you think of this Pangolier item build?
Has he done what I thought he was going to do? I thought they'd stop doing this mainly because you have your own courier all the time, right? So you can kind of get more value out of these early items. But this started happening, I think, about a year ago. The first time I saw it was Cube was doing it a lot. Like every game, he was convinced the way was, don't buy any items, just rush a javelin. Which is good, but you're in a situation, it's a new meta, right? Where everyone has their own courier. So that kind of whittling them down, that attrition battle is harder to win just by having a javelin.
I just also think the snowball effect has always been that way for like the last year or so, where if you're losing the lane after the first minute or two, it's really hard to recover. So having like consistent strength throughout the course of the laning stage is super important. So that just fascinates me. I'm not a huge advocate of going for these kind of greedy, hit the huge power spike at once. I think a lot of the powerful heroes right now are ones that kind of consistently ramp up. You know, they're pretty strong level 1, they're pretty strong level 2, and they consistently just get stronger and stronger, rather than, you know, super vulnerable level 1 and 2, and then suddenly they just hit a huge power spike. I haven't really noticed those types of heroes being particularly powerful right now. But yeah, we're gonna see some funny jukes, I assume, from Arrow on the SF here, making sure he doesn't get tossed into the tower.
Yeah, that's a fair point you make as well. I feel like the out lanes are a lot about level 1, 2 power spikes, right? Whereas mid is more about, because it's in this vacuum, it's like usually you're aiming at either a big power spike at 1 or 3. So like Ember is a perfect example. If it wasn't an SF lane, you probably have 2 points in the flame guard by 3, and then you can try and make a play.
For sure.
Yeah, this will be awkward. And the problem is he can't even get multi-raises out. Like, he's just farming creeps right now, which is going to make this more painful as Tiny does have boots.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how this one plays out. I mean, it could be all kinds of results here.
Oh. Okay, they've actually come towards him, so moment to move away. However, there's a new creep wave coming in, so whoop, back you go. More creeps coming down.
By the Tiny.
And he's going very far up, actually. So he'll waste a little bit of their time. They have got the toss in 6 seconds, so Tiny will just kill him slowly and painfully. I mean, he could just hit him a few times on the way, but no. And there you go.
I mean, it's not terrible because he's not technically missing any creeps on the SF, but now you suddenly have like 9 creeps coming at you. I don't think that's particularly what any mid laner wants, but we'll see how many CS he ends up getting from that wave, because if he ends up getting most of the CS here, then he's perfectly fine with that death, effectively losing no XP or CS.
Actually works out quite nicely because he'll get level 2, and then he can just spam out the razors for even more value.
Exactly.
If he can actually get these CS. Come on.
Oh, but Tiny's back.
Uh-oh.
For more.
He ain't leaving. Pangolier is going to arrive now, but he still doesn't have a javelin, so this is a pretty measly rotation from Yamish.
I think making sure that Ember doesn't just kind of get obliterated at the start is pretty important. So slowing down the SF will have an impact, but even then, he's still winning in the CS, and he is higher level as well, so not exactly
didn't really
accomplishing
backfire.
what he's going for. Yeah, exactly.
And Tiny is still level 1. I mean, you can try this again, but now it's 2 points in Shadow Rays, which means the SF can fight back.
And he's also got decent amount of right click coming out, rather than like the 40 he has level 1. He does hit for 67 already. They do have the DD, so he have to be a bit careful, but Definitely going to keep my eyes out on this Lifestealer build as well as this Pangolier build, because these are quite fascinating to me, to say the least.
Hey, Yamisha will have an impact soon, okay? He's just got 100 gold to go. It's just...
Wait for it. This reminds me of my 4 positions in the pubs. Hey, man, just wait till I get level
Yeah.
4. I'm online.
Well, that's what they've
this.
been saying with the Tiny in the mid. Wait for it, and he finally arrived. Oh, Akora? Arrow? He didn't actually go for the second hit. I mean, he's going to die regardless now. Where is he? Kinetic Field? Trying to save the day, but the toss is going to be there, and Shadowfiend's dead.
That was just the classic courier bait, making sure he steps forward a bit just to get that one little right click on it, but then you realize you can't kill it. Very tactical. I actually have no idea if people are baiting like that. I see a lot of times where it looks intentional, and I really never know. Yeah, it's hard to pay attention to how often you're using the courier in the laning stage.
Yeah, most people kind of forget about it. The only people who notice the couriers are the ones trying to actually snipe them out. You just kind of sit there and go, oh, well, that was a nice bonus. He baited himself.
Wrapping behind the Beastmaster with the Grimstroke Tiny. Tiny making a lot of space on the map right now, despite the fact that he's only level 1, effectively a part of all 3 kills. Actually got all 3 kills. So this is a killing spree Tiny at 3.5 minutes into the game. Clearly, Dyer's having some DC issues, so Radiant does have that going for them. I don't know what the pause rules are, but you know, if we manage to get to that point, that is a power spike for the Radiant lineup.
Handicap for them picking Lifestealer.
Exactly.
I'm glad that Tiny is dodging this bot lane, though. I don't think there's any kill to be had here. Disruptor hangs pretty far back, and your laning partner would be a Legion commander that isn't really renowned for kill potential before 6.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty surprised that this Lifestealer didn't go for Orb of Venom. The biggest problem I have with Lifestealer right now is he just does no damage. They moved his base damage to 50, and then his feast no longer does damage anymore. So, like, previous patches, if he took the feast damage plus base damage, he's hitting for 66 or something, and now he's hitting for 50. So I've really noticed that Orb of Venom is the only way that this hero can actually deal a relevant amount of right-click damage in the laning stage. But I think it's kind of backfired a bit. It's allowed the Legion to get more CS than I think he should get in a 1v2. But the one thing I will say about Lifestealer is that he does pretty much just free farm against most offlaners. He's really hard to pressure. The Feast is a lot of sustain. He does have a really good attack animation now that they gave him all that free attack speed. But you're like last picking this hero, and generally speaking, you want the last pick to be more than just something that's going to have a good landing stage. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Yamich does have that Javelin. Level 2 Pangolier with a Javelin.
All right, his Beastmaster just had to die for his sins, and now we'll get to see if he can actually commit a bit of murder. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. It's not like you have a good stunner on your lane, right? Like a Beastmaster, he can slow them down, but it's still a Grimstroke and a PL who will always escape.
Yeah, they have no way of stopping the PL from doppling. So once he hits level 4 on the PL, I can't really imagine the Pangolier being enough to deal with him. Does he just like rush the Does he rush Maelstrom too, or does he actually go for other items now?
No, I think now you go. Usually you want the Arcane Boots so you can just keep spamming out. The way it's been done historically is like you just get the Javelin, then you go back, obviously get your boots, upgrade to Arcanes, and then you have a little bit of flexibility on where you want to go from there. I think I've seen some that will be the Spirit Vessel Rusher for their team. Obviously not the greatest of games for it.
This is a pretty bad Spirit
Yeah,
Vessel game.
yeah. There's a Legion. There's a lot of heroes that don't care about it.
Yeah, if you're against like a Timber or like an Alk or something, you definitely have to consider that item. But I think I like items like Spirit Vessel now. It used to be pretty broken, you know, a while back, but playing some tic-tac-toe on the Radiant side with himself.
Yeah, he's playing with himself right now, so...
But Spirit Vessel's kind of turned into this item that's really good against specific heroes. It has a specific purpose, and otherwise you don't really buy it. So I think in general that's the best design for most items in Dota. You know, it's situationally powerful, and you have to know when to get it. So I do think Valve overall has done a good job, or Ice Frog, whatever you want to call it, has done a good job of balancing items in the sake of there's really no item that's just really broken right now for the most part. Like, you know, you see some people go Veils, like they nerf the drums. Like Vlad seems pretty powerful, but they nerf that too. So like all these items seem pretty good, and there are situations for most of them. So that is one thing I do like about this patch. There's a lot of different builds to go for, and it doesn't feel like anybody's really pigeonholed to go the same items every game, which I like that diversity in decision making. And the jungle items kind of even throw another wrench in that equation because sometimes getting a neutral item can make it so you change what item you do go for. So
Yeah, and other times it saves you from having to go for certain items. So you see things like Ursa just waiting to find some like the Vampire Fangs or the Paladin Sword and save themselves a decent amount of money on lifesteal, as an example.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I think maybe the only item, like, so obviously the big ones are Abyssal and Hex, but those are late game. But early items, I think I could maybe see Helmet Dominator becoming the go-to if Doom starts to go out of favor. Like if he gets 1 or 2 nerfs and you don't really have a natural counter to the Helmet Dominator, that could be the go-to item, especially for offlaners.
Yeah, Helm of the Dominator is, I think, a bit underrated, but I also think for whatever reason, I don't really know why, but the creep seems so easy to kill now compared to before. Not just because of heroes like Doom, and a lot of heroes just kind of right click them down. I think that the combination of like neutral items and stuff has just made heroes be able to kill these creeps more easily. So I see these Helm Doms feeding a lot of creeps. So I'm almost wondering if they're eventually going to rework the idea that it gives so much gold again. You know, it used to be that Helm Dom was just so broken that their way of nerfing it was by nerfing the creep to give you more reward for killing it. I personally think it might be too much. I just see so many people feeding Helm Dom creeps. I think the item itself is really nice, but it's almost a liability to want to dominate a creep because you just feed so much to the enemy team whenever they kill it.
Looked intentional.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's kind of funny because you look at what they've done across the board. They reduce cooldowns, they buff these neutral creeps, and the outcome was clearly they were targeting Helmet Dominator. Helmet Dominator is not being built. We want this to be an item again, and then all of a sudden Doom just gets picked all over the place. It's like, oh,
Yeah, instead it just buffed Doom.
whoops.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw that Doom Scorched Earth change in 7.22 or 2.3, like just the first patch. And I'm like, oh, well, that's broken. Suddenly he's got 16-second Scorched Earth at level 1. That's 320 damage level 1, man. That's a lot more than pretty much any other hero in the game has. So
I think my favorite part was that they introduced more gold for the later levels of Devour, right? It's kind of like I suppose they're like, please just level this, and then Doom's going, see, I get a little bit extra gold for that, but I have to stay alive, and it takes a bit of time. I could just max Scorched Earth first and get more gold for killing opponents and creeps.
yeah, I could just have 1,000 damage at max level Scorched Earth, and it's damage that all I do is run at them, and they take the damage. That sounds pretty nice. Overall, I think that Scorched Earth is the problem. So if they nerf the hero, I hope it's through Scorched Earth. But I'm also playing offlane right now, and I do enjoy picking Doom and winning. So you know, it could be worse, I guess.
I'm playing the 4. I can appreciate it too. It is quite nice to just simply find one creep, run at people, win the game. But no, we're kind of going
I
full
will say
circle,
that.
though. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I played safe lane real quick. I played safe lane against an offlane Doom, and I was crushing that guy. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he comes back and just crits me first hit for like half my health. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I died, and I was like, "Oh." And then I lost. I lost the lane.
I mean, it's
There was
like
an offlane dude, too.
everyone always forgets as well. Like, it's not just the crit for him; it's a damage aura for everyone, right? So it's like when you arrive for a gank, everyone's gonna amp up on you and just kill you in an instant.
Yeah, I mean it's 30% damage plus a crit, so he goes from hitting for 60 to 78 plus double. So he's hitting for 160 when he crits you. So I'm like, oh, I just got hit for like almost 3 times as much damage as I normally get hit for.
That moment where you
They
queue
are
up.
back.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get to play some Dota. So far, we've seen more pausing than we've seen gameplay.
Yeah, not really tactical pauses here. Yamiche doesn't need any tactics. He just knows what he wants to do. Javelin, probably buy another javelin, then buy another javelin, and then buy the 4th javelin, right? That used to
Sounds
be
like
the Pango build.
5 Battle Fury build on Alchemist or something I saw.
Ricky 5 Battle Furies, I think, when they first brought in his
Looked intentional.
AoE.
For sure.
A long time ago. I should rotate Fishman up here. As they know Hayes doesn't have Doppelganger, however, oh, look at that. All of a sudden, your plans for a gank are bad. But it's fine for them to play up here, because lifesteal
They
doesn't
don't really
need any
need to help
assistance.
the life. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Took the word straight out of my mouth.
We're on the same wavelength. We understand. Life's still a boring hero. Just leave him to his own devices.
It is going to give the Legion a bit more room, but you're definitely going to get more out of the bottom lane on the Lifestealer than you are out of the Legion. So the nice thing is whenever I'm playing carry, so
yeah, CyberDogs are getting a lot out of mid. They've found SF again.
But PL, he just walked over to the big camp with no doppel.
But what?
And he might just died.
Yeah, and he's got no life. Inks 12 to run away, but Pubba, well, it would have helped what looked like a pub PL there. As he's just hitting every button on his keyboard and hope for the best at this point. But Tiny will scare them all away.
Now, you were talking about how hard it is to kill him when he has doppel, but he walked out with no doppel. And then he just dies.
This is like when you say, you know, it's hard to fight an Enigma's team if he has Black Hole, but not if he suddenly just randomly presses it for no reason. And that's what PL just done.
Yep.
Tiny is here again. No clarity for you, but he wants Fishman. He can get the toss back. He's making it a little bit harder for himself now. And there's the Ink Spell follow-up, but he's taking more damage now. Fishman will get stunned. They'll toss back finally. Yamish doesn't actually have another swashbuckle, so nothing he can do. They do get the trade, though, as Tiny goes down to Thunderstrike.
Who's going on who here?
I don't think they know. So why would you think I know? Right, all right. No one in this game has a clue what's going on. Other than Hayes is dying casually to the Javelin and the boar.
The Hawk Vision to finish him off there.
Oh, Yamish. Vengeance will be had. Inks, well, they should be able to keep this on to both of them, but Beast is still pretty tanky. They might want to back away.
Even though they've killed this SF twice, this hero is just naturally favored against Ember. Ember is going to rotate because of that. But you're winning the 1v1 bottom and you're winning the 1v1 mid on the Khan side. So they have to get a lot done top to make this worth it. Looks like they're going to get a kill on Cheshire Cat again. But at what point is it not worth it anymore?
There is no point. Beat the dead horse. Not for long. He'll go down. Delia's in trouble now, though. He throws out a remnant. Maybe a little bit too late as the damage is coming in. Second remnant to get away, but he gets to deny. Calculated. Tiny will be
still dead
back.
for 20, though.
Would have probably just been better to die to them at that point. Come back in half the time. Tiny will go down as well. All right, we want to know what the Pangolier could do. Turns out if the enemy keeps running at you, diving towers, and not really having a clear idea what their target is, it works.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised PL hasn't rotated to the bottom lane. He matches up pretty well against the Lifestealer. You kind of just want to get away from all this random action. PL not exactly a fighting carry at the 7-minute mark. He did go mid, but now he's going to be jungling before level 6. So not exactly the ideal scenario. Pretty much PL just needs to get to level 6, and then his jungling is very efficient. But beforehand, not so much. Lifestealer absolutely chilling in the bottom lane right now. Level 7. Looks like he's going the standard build of Phase Armlet. Will he go Radiance after? Or Maelstrom? Or Bat? You know, what is the build? We talked about it at the beginning.
I think he just goes for like a Deso and they just get super aggressive. Like you mentioned it in the draft, the PL is a lot slower to get online, so you need to exploit that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think that's probably going to end up being what he does. Tiny looking in the mid lane again, really looking to take on the S. The Jukes.
Yeah, he out-mind gamed himself there. Guess it's wrong, and they won't get the kill. It was kind of obvious because Delia was dragging the creep wave towards the gank location. Typical mids giving everything away. However, Tiny, he's persistent. He'll toss over. I don't know if you want this anymore, though. The Inkswell's there. Pango's arrived and can do absolutely nothing but watch as his mid might die. Going to try and help out now. The Swashbuckle, they'll get the kill. The Avalanche doesn't change anything, and instead, Pubba might go down as well. Yamish doesn't have Swashbuckle for 10. There is a glimpse.
Oh, gets the glimpse off barely. That was only level 2. I didn't think he was in range for that, but is just enough. Meanwhile, they lose top tower to the Beastmaster. So suddenly the momentum heavily in favor of Khan here.
It just seems a lot cleaner, a lot simpler for them, right? Like the Ember. We saw why this hero started to fall off. It was getting countered. People figured out how to play against it. Even the introduction of outposts and the changes to the map. I don't feel like Ember's a hero that benefited a lot from neutral items, especially.
I think he just loses too many matchups after getting nerfed enough times. Like before his worst matchups, he'd still recover pretty well, but now the matchups are just that much worse for him, so his recovery is not nearly as quick. They are going to go on top, possibly getting another kill on Cheshire Cat. Roar's up to get the move speed away.
Yep, see you later, suckers.
Yeah, see you. The good old disengage Roar. I mean, that's 3 heroes, so effectively that's like a complete win for the Khan side.
Yeah, it's that type of thing you can't necessarily see because it's not gold directly going one way or the other. You have to think about, okay, they rotate 3 heroes here, they fail to kill. Think about the gold loss potential in terms of they could have ganked elsewhere or they could have been farming some camps.
Exactly. It gives a lot of safety to the other heroes on Khan as well, so they know they can farm very aggressively and efficiently. Lifestealer playing up at the tower right now, running at the Legion. I think it's going to be a trade for the outposts from what I can see so far.
Most teams tend to do this unless you're completely stomping your opponents. I feel like that's kind of a balance check, right? Is if you're getting both outposts, it should be because of a very specifically tailored lineup or because you're absolutely destroying your opponents on all lanes.
Yeah, I think you could also make a really crazy maneuver. I think sometimes can work. Say they think you're going to be bottom and you smoke 3 heroes to top and contest them. Sometimes you can catch them off guard, but I agree. Most of the time, from what I've seen so far, when I watched the tournament in Singapore as well, it was mainly trades on the outposts. Are smoked up on CyberDogs, looking to make something happen. Don't really have a particular power spike in mind that I can see. Ember Spirit, I think, just having a rough one, so they're trying to make use of him this early on in the game. But can you really kill this Lifestealer? That's my question. Even if you throw everything in the kitchen sink at him, does he die?
No, he just calls in the plum that is rage and walks away. Like, you have to get him before he rages. So maybe if you start the duel before that point, just use it as a stun. But they know. I think Yumi spotted him out. Yeah, they're under a ward. And I think they saw Tiny and Ember. They'll just claim the outpost.
He's even got backup, so even if he doesn't get the rage off, he has his teammates behind him.
Exactly. The static still, you saw it in the mid, right? They just walk past Fishman. They're like, oh, level 6 disruptor. That's just a no. We'll connect the bot instead.
Exactly. Instead, they're just gonna 4-man TP to top lane, like Cheshire Cat, the new target, but he is gonna get caught. It looks like. So this is something. But meanwhile, the Legion's also getting gone on the bottom lane. So
Primal Roar and run away again.
No.
We want the bot. Static Storm. Legion Commander's gonna die. Cheshire Cat. They're gonna spam some remnants out. He is so goddamn tanky, though. I don't know if you do this. A reinforcement's coming. They have TPs. They could save him. All right, they say, nah, you done your part, Cheshire Cat. You wasted a lot of the time.
Yeah, meanwhile, Arrow just takes mid tower. I think they're just spread too thin on the Dire side. I was kind of, as we mentioned, they just have a lot more. Their heroes just hit power spikes much quicker on Khan. They do a lot more with less, is how I kind of look at it. So you can just tell that Dire's having to use 4 heroes to get done what Radiant can do with 2 or 3, and what happens there is that Radiant gets the kill with 3 heroes, and meanwhile the 5th hero is killing mid tower. So that's what happens when you can just out resource people due to your hero strength at a specific moment in the game. So Lifestealer going for the very standard, ignoring the fact that there's a PL in this game, armlet into Deso. As you were mentioning, they're just looking to overwhelm this power spike where Dire's lineup just isn't online yet. PL is catching up, though. He is second on the net worth, but we pretty much scripted this, right? PL's only going to be, this is going to be the only one with a good start, and then he's not going to want to fight for a while. So suddenly Dire's in this situation where who fights? You know, when do they fight? Ember Spirit kind of just playing recovery, and that's not what you want to be doing on a hero like this. You want to be up in their face on a hero like Tiny as well. Legion wants to be getting dual damage. Kind of just do a whole lot of nothing lineup for a lineup that has a lot of active heroes.
Yeah, it's like, they all just want to kill, but there's no one to set up kills. Whereas on the other side, both the supports for Khan, who are smoked up right now, can do a lot. They've got the Static Storm, they've got the Roaring Thunder, and I see Haze. They don't quite catch him out correctly. They're going to glimpse him back now, but he'll doppelganger dodge away, and that is a mistake that will now be punished. They'll turn around and take out both bullets at Yumish. Swashbuckle away, trying to go for the Roaring Thunder, will be able to escape, but Disruptor does TP out as well, so no price paid, although Khan is screwing up heavily. We'll go for the TP just in time.
Whew.
Whew. That was very close to not being a successful TP, actually.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of nothing happening at the end of the day. But once again, you know, that's 2 heroes on the side of Radiant and 3 on the side of Dire. So nothing happens, and Radiant's just farming on the other 3, while Dire's only farming on the other 2. And one of them is a Legion commander farming Ancients. And this is the problem I have with Legion. You know, she just doesn't get the dual wins that she used to have. I don't know exactly how to explain why it happens. It just happens every game I played Legion. I tried her out. I never felt like I had a good start. I never got early dual wins and snowballed that into a lead. I constantly find myself where my safe laners don't want to rotate because that's just the meta right now. And because my safe laners aren't really rotating, this is what my game looks like. And they're going on this lifestealer.
This is pretty desperate.
Kind of. Yeah, like, what do you do to this guy? He's already unkillable, and he's only got an armlet. He does have the broom handle, super value neutral item for a lifestealer, the armor as well as the damage. The attack range is nice little bonus, but armor and damage on this hero, super value.
That's the thing. The early neutral items, it's not as much about the actives. It's about the fact that practically all of them give stats or mana or some other kind of element that just boosts you up very early. And they're going on Arrow here. He's so tanky. The Primal Roar is going to come out. Cheshire Cat, he's just going to turn on Pupper. Boost actually moves away now, but the Ink Swirl will still connect because of Searing Chains. However, he's so tanky. Soulbind's coming out, but Requiem scare them all away. But the duel, this might work against Ascol. He's looking like a bit of an ass, more than a Legion right now, and they'll move Cheshire Cat away. Static Storm arrives. Ember Spirit going to go down as well as he's stuck in the middle of this, and Haze should be able to escape, but there's a rolling Pangolier on his way in, and there is going to be a glimpse back. Tiny won't make it out. Haze might still get caught because he's already used the Doppelganger. He's 5 seconds. But they don't have the means to control him right now, so they'll just back out because Fisherman was dying to the illusions. This is... I mean, I think we're past desperate now, Brian. What was that initiation?
Yeah, when they last picked this PL and this Legion, I just looked at their draft and I'm like, at what point do they feel strong? The problem is you pick this Ember, right? And they third pick counter it with the SF. So the thing about third pick countering it with SF is you allow the other team to use their last 2 or 3 picks to be like, okay, we're not going to give this SF the lane he wants. But then you just gave it to him. So suddenly you just have a really lane-losing mid, despite ganking for him. And at this point, you know, they're desperate, but they're heroes. They just don't have the tools they need to fight. They have the Blink Dagger. Actually, he went back for a drum on the Legion, thinking that they just need something. Yeah, I don't know what the game plan is for the Dire side here.
I think the summon they need at this point might just be Khan accidentally typing GG.
What is the ruling on that if they accidentally type that?
Wasn't like decided a while ago that if you hit GG, it is GG. I think that's the way most tournaments do it now. All right, Soulbind coming out. Pangolier will be dueled in rolling form and might go down, but it won't be a duel win. He only gets the kill. Fishman uses his own ultimate to escape. Is not successful though.
Okay. Killed both supports, but the net worth hasn't even shifted.
That's what happens when the free cores on the side that lost 2 supports are all in the jungle. They're lost in farm town.
I'm a support. I'm like, come on, guys, let's do something. And then you just, like, as you're drawing attention from the entire enemy team, where's my team? And then you look, one's in your bottom jungle, one's in middle jungle, and one's in top jungle. He does have the Deso gun on life, so this guy's farm.
Yeah, he just brought it out. See, the thing is, Brian, you have to kind of negotiate differently and go, hey, guys, you should come farm the enemy jungle. Yeah, that's got loads of gold there, too, because you're sharing over there right now. And then you bait them into a fight.
And then they feed with you, and then they get mad at you for telling them to farm the jungle. We've all been there, done that.
That's why you take the Lifestealer, because, well, actually, no, don't take the Lifestealer. He has a choice. He'll just rage TP out. If you take the Shadow Fiend, he has to stand and fight with you. He should be ready to fight now. He's got his BKB. He's got the level 15. Should get his hands on the Presence Aura affecting building soon. How's Pango looking? He did go back for that Maelstrom. Decided to be a lot more greedy in this game. But he's
As we mentioned in the draft, he's pretty much the only one that deals with PL, right?
Yeah.
So.
And he can keep the aggressive lanes if CyberDogs ever manage to get one going pushed out. However, he is here now, and they've been waiting. If only they had an easy form of initiation on the side of CyberDogs right now. They have the blink on time.
Value Pango inventory. Look at this. He's got the Nether Shawl as well as the Philosopher's Stone.
He knows. It's all about that clear with the Maelstrom. Also, in fairness, it's spell damage now, right? So I think it does increase Swashbuckle's damage.
Yes, it is all damage from spells, so it doesn't have to be magic, right? It can be physical as well.
Yeah, this is why things like Veil were an interesting change, because they changed that over to be spell damage. So heroes who had pure damage, like Doom, for example, now benefit from having something like a Puck on their team. Just amping that up.
Yeah, I like that overall change. I think that giving any hero the option to go Veil is pretty cool. But looks like Khan, they just take a free Roche. Yeah, they gave up a tier 1 bottom, but no skin off their teeth there, or whatever it's called. And they are just going to smoke up, look to make something happen. Boot them out of their own jungle. And if they can kind of corral CyberDogs back into their base, this is the first step to securing map control as well as potentially going high ground. Are they going to find the Tiny? He's got a blink, so probably not, but no TP.
He's stuck here a long time.
Taking that outpost.
Well, they know now, and they'll assume he TP'd out. Little do they know, poor little tiny Montana here.
Oh!
Oh no, the game is up. They glimpsed him because they thought he was TPing, looking in the corner. Turns out he had nothing to work with. Freebie. Another reason to love picking Beastmaster in your games. Deals with these pesky split pushes pretty easily.
Yeah, the hawk vision as well as the axes killing trees makes it pretty easy to catch people when they're trying to do that kind of stuff. Kind of got to be aware, though. You can't make these cheeky moves nearly as often against heroes like Beastmaster, but they're going on this Pangolier. Is he in some
He has
trouble?
got the mech, but he's taking too much damage. He's going to get up just in time. Swashbuckle away, and now the turnaround's coming out. Alone will leave alone, and he might lose a few heroes on the way out because Pubba's been left behind. Threw out the Soulbind to try and buy himself some time, but it's too late. That was very close for Yamish.
PL is #1 net worth, so I'm going to be honest with you. Despite being down by 8,000, if they make 1 or 2 big slip-ups on the Khan side, I actually think Dire will win this. So I'm saying that as long as they play smooth, Khan's got this. But
look at the tower. This is the part where you have to catch them out, right? Because now you don't have Soulbind for the defense. They might go up on the high ground as they didn't. Wait, what? They didn't even go for the presence or affecting buildings this game.
I was pretty surprised about that. I just checked that myself. Thought it went really well with their lineup and their timing push to go that. But they also went the Crimson Guard on Beastmaster, negating this PL's timing. But they have a lot of poke damage, as you're seeing here. Life Steal are already getting low, but that is so much damage on the tower. PL is trading, but not nearly as fast as you'd hope. He does have gold for defusal on PL. Why doesn't he just go?
I guess he's waiting to come back, and he's going to be too late because Legion Command's already did to the primal rule. We'll buy back. But Tiny being ran down by the Rage Lifestealer, Inkswell on him means that you have to back off, though. They'll turn around and kill Pubba instead after he gets glimpsed back. And they'll clean up the racks as well and go back to deal with the PL, who only just got the tower. Buyback does come out from the Legion as well. The duel will be thrown out onto the Disruptor. So they at least get a duel win finally, but now they're going to lose Pubba again. He just pulled back in this. Now it's going to be the dieback, and they're going to buy back the Disruptor as well to arrive in the fight. Requiem comes out. Hayes is already dead and gone. And now things just went from bad to absolutely catastrophic for CyberDogs. This is... What was the PL?
He TP'd in and then immediately doppeled and then went on them and just got SF ulted.
That's what I was wondering. Is he just pressing all of his buttons again?
Yeah, you just have to save doppel for the SF ult. You just have to. So... I'm just talking from an experience of being a PL player. You know, there's certain abilities you have to save doppel for, and if you don't have doppel, you can't go into the fight yet. And he just walked in and took half his health and damage from the SF ult, and then because because he's getting feared, he also just dies. So buys out his defusal and then dies. But
he'll be up to do it again.
So far. Yeah, he's ready.
And no Requiem for 60 seconds, so he can just press W and not care. Doppelganger won't get him killed this time. You know what it was? He was sitting there dreaming of level 25. He thought he had it already. He jumped the gun.
That's true. He's like, I've hit my power spike, I've got it. But then he realizes it's just the Manta Defusal power spike, right?
Whoops.
Is that intentional?
Imclaw is super good on PL, by the way. It does give all your illusions the crit on their first hit. But, I mean, it seems like he's still having some serious damage issues. And I mean, they did do a good job on Khan in terms of build on this Beastmaster to kind of just ignore the PL. But I also think that it has been a bit of sloppy play from the Dire side here. And then overall execution of the base defense and trade. I think PL stayed top too long, and I think they're going to go for this Hail Mary play.
The do or die. They see Fishman. They need to get rid of him first. Avalanche toss in. He's low and will just about die, but the wrong fund is being charged up, and now they want to turn it around. Actually, CyberDog's the one who has to run away here. They're going to be forced to fight. Hayes will back off a little bit. Soulbind's going to come out, but Pango stays far away from his teammates. They'll just have to keep running. Gratcho doesn't have the rage. He's going to go down here, but looks like it's going to be close. Crimson Guard armor stands and fights. The prime rule is being thrown out, and now the Requiem follow-up will save the life of Lifestealer as he backs away.
Oh my gosh. The Crimson.
Whew. Coming in clutch. No damage done. Yamiche needs to be careful. Doesn't have a Rolling Thunder anymore. And Hayes is going to go in. They're ready to actually infest bomb someone. They do see Scold. They'll turn around now. Move into the main fight. The disarm comes out. Hayes down to half HP. All doppelganger away. BKB from Arrow means he has to commit now. Manta to try and dodge out. Hayes still running. One more hit might bring him down, though. They hit him. Doppelganger in two, but the Axes snipe him out. Dead for 50 seconds. No way to get back into this right now. He actually did. Oh, you got buyback. But you're not really ready, right? You haven't got the Soulbind again. It's hard to actually find this Lifestealer again. I mean, you have to buy back now, right? This is going to be Megas. There it is. And straight away, Tiny might just disappear. Press the attack, gets him out in time. Beastmaster will be stunned up, but you can't go on the Beast. You have to go on the Lifestealer. The Duel's going to come out, but it looks like Legion's going to lose this one right now. Is there an opportunity to armor Toggle? There's so many illusions around him. It looks like Dracho might go down for the course. Cheshire Cat will try and run away, but it's a little bit too late. He will join Lifestealer in the grave.
Huh. Well, they held.
That's true.
He was forced to buy back on PL, but they still have a lane of racks left, and if they do that, say 3 more times on the Radiant side, maybe Dire has a shot here.
Yeah, you just have to improve the buildings lost to heroes killed ratio, because it's quite high after you lost 2 lanes, almost 3, to actually get that one fight.
Exactly.
I think CyberDogs just have to play ultra aggressive out of the base, right? Like, you need to force a fight on Khan's side of the map, or the result of any fight is that they'll just go for your remaining racks.
It looked intentional.
They go deep. They might find Fishman. You get the tier 1, and Fishman will Glimmer Cape away. Avalanche slow him down, Sentry reveal where he is, and that's a good pickoff.
Okay, they can maybe keep the momentum going from that.
Problem is that they have to keep going back to these other lanes. Like, top is pushing in, Ember's dealing with bot, and it's not a boots of travel type Ember game, so they might be reluctant to commit more.
Yeah, he does have the BKB down on Ember, 10 seconds, so he should be able to be pretty potent. No, like, Ag Scepter on the Disruptor yet or anything. Not even close, obviously. But there's just so many items on the side of Khan. You're just down by so much net worth. They have the Medallion, the Pipe, the Vlads, the Crimson, the Greaves. You know, Lifestealer has the Paladin Sword, a very valuable neutral item on that hero. Buffs up the Feast lifesteal.
And you highlight the biggest issue, right? Which is, yeah, you got this 10-second BKB on Ember, but you mentioned the hero. Cheshire Cat with all these items, but more importantly, the Primal Roar. They have so much damage that if you get stunned on the spot for 2 seconds as an Ember, you're dead. And, well, Primal Roar lasts a lot longer than that.
Exactly.
Bubba probing. Yamiche wants to fight, does have the Rolling Thunder, and also has a craggy coat, which means he's not an easy kill anymore. Glimpse. They find one. Pablo dragged out. Soulbind straight away. And it looks like Tiny's going to go for the toss play. Static Storm goes down. Arrow with a Requiem charged up in the center. Peel, he can't run out. Trapped in the kinetic field. And Delia running for the high hills. The Rolling Thunder chasing through, though. And the GG gets called. They know they can't fight without their PL. And that was... is dominant the word I'm looking for here, BSJ?
Yeah. I'd say dominant's fine. There's probably a better word we could find out there, but overall, we kind of saw this coming, right? PL just the weight of the world on his shoulders, and wasn't strong enough to carry it. So maybe I'm looking to see what they do to adjust in the next draft. I think picking heroes like Ember Spirit in the first round that are so easily destroyed in lane is just something you have to try to avoid this patch. So curious if they'll adjust going into game 2.
Yep, hopefully they'll kind of adjust the priority on the offlane as well. I feel like you can see the differences day and night, right? Khan, they pick this offlaner that kind of super glues the timings together, gives early push, builds those auras we talked about. CyberDogs have an offlaner that if you don't play around it, it does basically nothing for the entire game.
Exactly.
Well, only game 1. We've moved past best of 1s. We're on to best of 3s. Khan is 1 game up, but they will need to win the next one to just get a 2-0 cruise through. OGC is waiting for an opponent. We'll see if CyberDogs can make this a lot harder, or if Khan will just get there quickly.